What is up, my internet nerdlings? Today, we are going to answer the question, what is the best synth VST that money can buy? Now, this is a hard one to answer and very subjective, but we're going to do it anyway. The answer I'm going to give you today is probably pretty unexpected, and it also leads into a challenge that I have created for myself that I am going to open up to anybody else that wants to do it as well, that I think maybe you should do before you even buy a new synth VST. So before we get into it, I just want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor of this video, the almighty and wonderful DistroKid. For those of you trying to get your music into the ear holes of your fans, DistroKid is the best way to distribute your music. I personally launch all of my music through DistroKid, and I recommend everybody I collaborate with to do it as well. And one of the key reasons for this is their splits feature. So with splits, I can set up split commissions on royalties earned, which by the way, DistroKid takes 0 of. This way, when I collaborate with any amount of artists, I can split up commissions between everybody involved and everybody can earn an equal share in the earnings behind the track. This is just one of the million awesome features why I use DistroKid, and just one I wanted to outline today because I'm really into collaborating and I think this splits feature is pretty cool and it's super useful. If you want to use DistroKid, you can sign up using the link in the description below, also here, to save 7% on your first year plan. Now let's get into it, shall we? So you're looking for your next synth VST, eh? No problem. If you don't already own a synth VST to run in your DAW, then you're a damn liar, because all DAWs come with at least a synth VST out of the box. And these synths that come with DAWs are actually, from my experience, pretty powerful synths. And there's usually more than one. But if for some reason this isn't the case and you either don't have access to your synth VST or your DAW doesn't have one, then you should A, buy a new DAW, and B, check out this quick list of some of the highest rated synths to date. Whoosh. Look at all of them. See all these synths? These are great. Oh my gosh. You'd be solid buying any one of these if you don't currently own a synth VST, so buy away and have fun. If this is simply the information you're looking for, then I have nothing else to offer you. You can go ahead and close this video and go on your merry way. Just make sure to press subscribe on your way out. But if you do already own a synth VST, it's time to put on your big person pants because I'm about to drop a hot take on this. We're about to dive into some shit. I mean, stuff. If you do already use a synth VST, then the best one to use is, drumroll please, the ones you already own. All right, I know that isn't the answer you were really expecting, and you're probably already mad at me for saying this, but just bear with me for a second and play along. All right, so I have some questions for you. Yes, you sitting there in your $300 producer chair eating trail mix. I just like the candy bits. Just answer in your head. It's easy questions, I promise you. You're gonna ace this test. How many synth VSTs do you currently own? Just a rough estimate will do. This includes ones you've purchased, freebies, or even ones that come with your DAW, just all of the ones at your disposal. How many do you have? Now, of all of these virtual synths, how many have you designed your own presets for? If the answer to that last question is 0, let me ask you one final, ultimate question. If you haven't yet learned to design sounds using the synths that are already at your disposal, that are already paid for, then why are you in the market for a new synth VST? Now, there obviously could be some really simple reasons for this. Sometimes some synth VSTs just have a horrible interface or don't have the feature set of other ones. For example, maybe you're looking for a synth that has a built-in arpeggiator, more LFO functionality, more modulation, maybe an FM synthesizer, more analog sound. I get it, the list goes on and on. There's obviously a bunch of reasons to buy a new synth VST. But there is one other major reason that people like to buy a new synth VST, and this is coming from very personal experience as well as a lot of observed experience. So if this rings a bell to you, then maybe listen up. But you obviously are already listening because you're here at this point, so. If you haven't done any sound design in the synths you currently own, this tells me that you probably want to buy a new synth in order to get access to a new bank of presets. Oh, presets. Now, there's obviously nothing inherently wrong about that, and new presets can be a cool way to explore some new sounds and come up with some new creative ideas and just kickstart the fun. But if you're not designing your own presets and learning the key principles to sound design with synthesizers, then I hate to break it to you, but you're never gonna get the most out of any synth you buy. That's just the truth. What's worse about not learning sound design is you'll have an idea for a really cool sound in your head and you'll sit down at your computer and have no idea how to make that sound. At this point, you're going to be at the mercy of the preset gods and you're just be going down an endless rabbit hole of trying to find the perfect preset, when in reality, if you knew how to make that sound, you could just sit down and make it in just a matter of minutes. So instead of buying what will effectively be a new bank of presets, how about you sit down and learn how to design sounds and presets using the synths you currently own? Every Synth VST you own comes with a lengthy manual on how to use it and explains what all the knobs and buttons and bells and whistles do. Read this material. Some of these guides can be lengthy. Hell, the Air Hybrid 3 synth has like a 71-page manual on how to use the entire thing. But reading these manuals unlocks the key to how to use these things and design your own sounds, and just reading these instantly shortcuts you on the path of being a pro with that synthesizer. Until I started reading these manuals, I often would buy new Synth VSTs just to get access to new bank of presets, because it's really easy, why not? In taking this new route in my own personal music journey, I have created a challenge for myself, which I just want to kind of throw out there into the world for all you doing this as well, and maybe this will be a useful challenge for you too. I told myself that I would not buy any new Synth VSTs until A, I felt extremely comfortable using all the ones I currently have, where I can just sit down and just instantly start tweaking sounds and designing something I want, and B, have designed a sizable bank of presets for each of these synths as well. And until I do each of those things with every Synth VST I currently own, I am not buying any new Synth VSTs. Now, if this sounds like a mighty task, then maybe this challenge is also for you. The core reason I've challenged myself and am doing this is to get better at sound design. Wild concept, I know. My motivation for this is I don't want to be a creator with a bunch of tools at my disposal that I have no idea how to use. If an idea strikes my brain skull, I want to get that idea down now before some cat meme on the internet steals it from me. Why is the cat wearing pants? Where did my pants go? Look, at the end of the day, it comes down to just learning some fundamentals. When it comes down to it, all any synth is doing is taking a simple sine wave and modifying that sound to get a certain timbre. If you don't learn the basics of wave types, oscillators, LFOs, modulation, envelopes, all things synth, then you will always be at the mercy of the preset gods. By the way, if you aren't comfortable with synthesis design, Ableton has a super rad browser-based synth tutorial that you can run through that teaches you kind of all the basics and fundamentals of synthesis. I'll have a link below if you want to learn more about it. It's a super useful tool, and I wish I knew it existed when I was first struggling with the basics. But I suppose that's why you subscribe to this channel, is to learn these shortcuts that I've learned after I took the long route. Now obviously, this challenge is my own. If you see a Synth VST that you think will help you make super rad, cool new sounds, and it inspires you, then buy that VST. And this is especially true if you don't currently have a VST that has an interface or a feature set that you like very much. Get the VST you want, but maybe when you do, master the holy shnikes out of the one you just bought before you buy another one. That's all I'm saying. Me personally, I switched to the Ableton suite some months ago, and that came with a huge price tag. But part of that price tag was getting access to some really dope, powerful built-in synthesizers. Currently, I've been doing a lot of work with Operator, which is an FM synthesizer with some additive and subtractive synth built into it, and combining that with some LFOs and effects that are part of Ableton. And from that, I'm able to make some really rad sounds from scratch. And just to show you an example, here's Ableton. This is a sound I've made called OP Reactive Earth, OP for Operator. It's basically this plugin that I designed using Operator, so I can expand it here. And you can see there's an operator rack with a bunch of effects and audio effect rack and all kinds of different fun sounds in here. And it's all mapped to this little macros panel, so I just load up this patch and it's just this quick plugin where I can quickly play sounds, change between variations. Really fun and easy. And this is one of the reasons I switched to Ableton, was to do stuff like this. And the cool thing is, these sounds are my own, so when people hear them, they're going to be unique. And before I was diving too deep into Operator and Ableton, I was reading through manuals of path synths I had and just learning everything I could about what I already had at my disposal. And now that I've been doing this challenge, it is so much easier for me to open up any Synth VST and just dive in, just designing my own sounds in that software. What's more is I'm now designing a huge bank of presets that I can use, that I have at my disposal, that are all sounds which I love because I designed them to sound exactly the way I wanted them to. And if I want to modify them or tweak them, it's easy to do because I designed it. I very quickly went from having no idea what I was doing with synthesis and not really sure what most of the knobs in my plugins did, to being able to hear sound in my head and designing that sound within minutes, which is a crazy powerful tool. And what's more is I am now building the knowledge of knowing exactly which Synth VST and combination of effects will get the job done for a sound I'm looking for. And the beauty of all this, I'm now starting to develop my own unique sound. And that, my friends, is what it's all about. Well, that's my 10 cents on the topic. Inflation's a real bitch these days. I hope in that in searching for a new Synth VST, you find what you're looking for. And maybe I've inspired you to take this same challenge. Maybe post down in the comments what some of your favorite Synth VSTs are. Either way, like and subscribe, and maybe get distracted with some of these videos over here, hey? Later, friends.